Welcome to the core goals of information security, CIA plus FBI. To the security briefing. This one is on the core goals of information security, which we are calling CIA FBI. You may have heard of some other terms like a triad, CIA, for example. In the past, we're going to correct and improve upon that in this briefing. The briefing should go in the 10-15 minute time range, as the other briefings are. There is a full class version of this presentation, which goes in the 3 to 5 hour time range. So please look for those, and those can be acquired again through my YouTube or through the contact. Thank you, and hope you enjoy this briefing. The instructor is myself, Brad Osborne, and I have 20 years of security across many federal agencies and defense agencies. I have a couple of certifications such as Cia+Fbi and certified authorization also. About me, I've traveled across 21 time zones in 1 month, and I've done a number of scuba dives, including one with a bird bumping into me nose to nose at about 40 feet deep. As you can see, I have several experiences with NASA, including this with the Space Shuttle Columbia, long may she fly. And as I said, I've got a little bit of wanderlust taking me to 3/4 of the world. I still have to get south of the equator, though. And as with the presentation, the briefing you're taking today, please raise your hand. And if you can't raise your hand, and by the way, I do not look at anything like that, Mr. Osborne, teacher there. You can reach me via my LinkedIn, Info Security Master, Facebook, InfoSec Master, or even my Gmail, infosecurity.master. That's InfoSecurity Master on LinkedIn is probably my preferred, as well as Facebook, InfoSec Master. This briefing is about the CIA FBI, which is the foundation of information security, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and functional, bona fide, and individual's privacy. We'll represent those 6 core goals, the areas of practice perhaps, depending upon which framework you're most familiar with, to apply to systems and related organizations. These are the defining terms for information security. The target audience here is everybody from comp sci, IT, cybersecurity students, career professionals who need to know better about information security or want to jump into it, engineers, whether IT or information security, as well as all the leaders from the CIO, CISO, and such who want to have a foundation of information security. If you want to gain or improve your understanding of information security, this is really the place for you. This is a starting place. The prerequisites are very simple. If you want to bring a dictionary or thesaurus, you can provide that by yourself, by paper, or use one of the online. There's a numerous online, such as m-w.com from Merriam-Webster, as well as others that have dictionary and thesaurus functionality. We want you to become familiar with these terms. If you have exposure to any of these technologies, such as networks, applications, programming, IT, security, then you're in the right place and you have the right background. The fact that you are on a computer of some sort of IT device, accessing across a network to an application that provides this training is probably good evidence that you're ready for this course, which contains the following security goals: CIA, FBI. And those are confidentiality, integrity, availability, functional usability, bona fide authenticity, and individuals' privacy. And I haven't punctuated it here, but we're talking about every individual and all the individuals and their individual or community privacy. So that's kind of a fuzzy area. But anyways, CIA, FBI. Moving on to confidentiality. You see the definition there. The goal here is restricting access and restricting disclosure of the information. You can do this by access controls as well as some data encryption controls. This pairs but contrasts with privacy, and we'll see that shortly. Yet this does not equate to privacy. This is controlling access. Integrity, guarding improper information modification. That's the goal. Is it the same now as it was? There are some variety of things such as hashes as well as encryption of storage that will support your integrity. This is a contrast to the authenticity, the bona fides, which we'll talk about shortly. Availability, ensuring access, reliable access perhaps, to your information or to your system. Is it there? Can I get to it? Is it powered on? Are the lights blinking? That's as far as availability goes. Now, availability is supported by external infrastructures, power or electricity, air conditioning, the roof and the flooring, drainage, perhaps even some water, etc., as well as lightning protection, depending upon where you might be. So there are some dependencies with regard to availability. Availability can be enhanced with duplicates, sometimes called as mirrors, or a backup site. Now, this can be just critical portions or even a complete duplication of the whole system, or at least a duplication of the information. The duplication of information is sometimes simply called backups or snapshots. And so you can support availability with that type of replication. Contrast this with the functionality and usefulness, which we'll see shortly. Functional usability, here it is. And I'm using a variety of terms. Sometimes usability and usefulness blend, and I want to make sure that you're not confused. So we're talking about the utility and functionality, functional support for the system. Now this contrasts to availability. Availability is just touching. And we'll see an example in the next slide about ransomware, which is sometimes called crypto ransomware, where your data becomes encrypted without your desire. Now, you can have availability with no usability and vice versa. Now, one thing to note is a separate, and it's independent from security. It's called the user interface, or UX. Sometimes it's called. If the system is not usable, it cannot be secure. And here's a few lessons we take from the UX engineering. If the system is difficult to use, users will try to background, to go around, to jump around, however you want to phrase that, hack. Okay, too many passwords, too many firewalls, too many security features stopping them from getting to what they can actually accomplish. Users will try to break security. Now, I'm using this example of Network, the movie, not Social Network, but the movie Network from 30 years ago. Remember the phrase, I have too many passwords, I am not going to deal with it anymore. Compare that with the quote from the movie Network. Not going to deal with it anymore. That's how the user experience, UX, impacts security. Now, likewise, this can also support and help hackers, whether they're internal or external, to try and get around your overbearing and unusable or less usable security features. Here's an example where you have availability versus usefulness or usability. In the top graphic, you see a user, they see their folders, they see their databases, they get to their data, they can edit it. That's normal life. life is good. However, in the bottom graphic, the system has been infected with ransomware, sometimes called crypto ransomware. They can see their folders and files and databases, but when they try to open it, try to edit it, you get a message, we've encrypted your stuff. Send us money. Whether that's Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, it's up to the hacker. That is a bad situation. That is a situation you want to avoid at all costs. And recently, some municipality, a smallish municipality, paid six figures, hundreds of thousands of dollars to the hackers to get their data decrypted. Yet to be seen whether the hackers will take the money and run or whether they will even decrypt. That's yet to be seen. So, anyways, do never, ever get yourself infected with ransomware. Biggest product. But anyways, this shows that you can have access, availability to your data and databases, but it's useless, not usable, because it's encrypted. In this case, it's encrypted by another outside party. Now, let's move on to bona fides or authenticity. I like using a variety of terms to help picture out what you're talking about. Here, we're talking about genuineness and validity of your data and your system. Compare this to integrity, which only shows that your information or your system has not been inappropriately changed. Now, you can have background checks or identification, badges, public-private key type of situations, digital signatures, certificates, etc. These can be used for other purposes, but they also are to support authenticity. Individuals' privacy, and I'm going to put an emphasis there on the individuals in a community, and each and every one of their own privacy. Privacy is the protection of persons from being identified indiscriminately, inappropriately, disclosing their information, health parameters, location, and residence parameters. This is a little bit similar to confidentiality, but it's the inverse. And you see the definition there of PII. Traditionally, name, email address, phone, even an account number, whether it's a bank account, social security number, etc. Now, new laws have expanded that. New application of privacy has expanded to include IP address, biometrics, devices, identifiers. Your cell phone has something called an EMI. That is crucial to not be divulged. Geolocation, where you are in concert with your mobile device, bad. Demographics, so these are other things, and so we expect to see the definition of PII being expanded. Now, disclosure of PII is a risk to a person because of their negative impact, whether it's just where they are, their health condition, other risk factors. That is what we are protecting here with privacy. Some of the newer privacy regulations, such as the European Union GDPR, General Data Protection Reg, enforces and provides European persons with a right to anonymity. You can't know about that person. Nutshell. Other laws and other regulations are coming online that enforce similar restrictions. So this is, again, something to watch very closely. The U.S. Privacy Act is almost archaic. HIPAA, fairly normal. Now we're going to see the EU GDPR. We're going to see regulations from Canada, even regulations from California, which are going to enforce and increase the regulation upon individuals' privacy. So, modern information security, including privacy, includes confidentiality, you can refine that or even split off intellectual property, such as distribution of information. Could be separate or maybe included within confidentiality. Integrity, improper changes or destruction. Availability, access, including or maybe even separate the resilience of the system, the reliability. So those may be additional factors to watch for. Functional usability, is the system providing you the mission? Can you accomplish your mission? We've talked about that in great depth. Bona fide authenticity, also discussed in great depth. Is the information or system genuine? How do you prove that? Additionally, there is another factor called non-repudiation, which is in the sense of an email, for example. Can you prove that the sender sent? Can you prove that the receiver received the information? So that's an authenticity, your bona fides. Finally, individuals' privacy, whether that's a single individual or all of your individuals within your group, within your community. Can you protect their personal information from disclosure that would negatively impact them? And in some regulations that it enforces, which could be inclusive or it may be a separate, the factor called anonymity. So watch for that. Now here is an example of a spider chart. And starting from the top, confidentiality, go moving clockwise to the right, integrity, availability, functionality is at the bottom center, bona fides at the left, and upper left, individual privacy. We see what's sometimes called a spider chart, and you can grade your goals, which in gray shows that the relative relationship between each of these factors, each of these goals, what you attempt to achieve, which is shown in gray. And then you can grade how much integrity, which is on the right, availability, again moving clockwise downward, functionality, bona fides, privacy, and confidentiality you have achieved. And in this chart, you've shown that you've got to about 10 out of 25 for confidentiality. You've achieved 20 of 25 integrity goals. You've achieved 20 of 30 availability, 20 of 25 function. Bona fides are about 20 of 25 or so, and privacy is 30 of 35. So this is shown because each system may have different goals. You may, in this case, you have a very high goals for privacy, which means this system likely, the information we're talking about, has a lot of privacy, a lot of PII information, but a lesser degree has lesser confidentiality. But you've also performed poorly, less effectively there. Likewise, you have the functional is a big issue, and you've gotten the bona fides, the authenticity. Again, you've got a fairly substantial goal, and you've nearly met that. However, availability, again, remember the contrasts and comparisons. Availability, you've got a fairly high availability need. The system has to be powered up a lot, but you have failed to get close to that goal of keeping the system up. So this will vary by system, and if you have a system that has very little, if any, PII, then that upper left-hand corner, that gold, which is gray, will move towards the center, and you may have an easier time of achieving that goal, which is shown in the blue. Likewise, if you have a high availability need, that goal in the right towards the bottom will be increased, and then this time it's almost all the way, and you have to check in the blue to see whether you have achieved that goal. Again, here's your pillars of security success. Confidentiality, including intellectual property controls, distribution controls. Bona fide authentic. privacy, including anonymity or non-appropriation, integrity, functionality, availability, possibly including resilience. Again, thank you, and you can reach me, and that's my Gmail. And if you go back to the beginning, you'll see the other contacts that you can reach me. If you need some expansion or clarification, do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you.